Welcome to the Crystal Earth Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Sconia. Today we're going to be exploring a story that connects something very old with something very new, quartz and computer chips. It's about how the modern world of high-tech manufacturing, including the chips that power everything from our phones to data centers, depends on one very specific mineral and one very specific place. A new report coming out highlights how the global semiconductor industry has become almost completely dependent on a single mine in the United States. That mine is in Spruce Pine, North Carolina, and the material it produces is called high-purity quartz, or HPQ. Now, many in the gem industry know of the Spruce Pine Show and the Franklin Gem and Mineral Show that happened there as well. So, what do we have going on with this HPQ, this high-purity quartz coming out of Spruce Pine? In China, they have just announced it's investing over $14 million into synthetic quartz production, trying to loosen its dependence on the U.S. So today we'll look at what makes this quartz so important, why a single mine matters, and what China's new investment could mean for the balance of global manufacturing. Let's start with the basics. Quartz is one of the most common minerals on Earth, but high-purity quartz is something very different. This type of quartz is almost completely free of impurities. It's so pure, in fact, that it can be used to produce silicon wafers, the foundation for all semiconductors. When chip manufacturers grow single crystal silicon, they need a crucible, basically a container, that can hold molten silicon without containing it. That crucible must be made of the cleanest quartz possible. Even a trace of impurity can ruin an entire batch of wafers. And that's where Spruce Pine comes in. The quartz mined there is so exceptionally pure that it requires very little refining. It's often called the best in the world, and it's essential for producing the silicon that drives every modern chip. From smartphones and satellites to solar panels and fiber optics, this quiet mountain town in North Carolina plays a hidden but critical role in the global technology chain. So here's the issue. Nearly all of the world's supply of high-purity quartz used in semiconductor manufacturing comes from that single location in the U.S. So if anything disrupts production, a natural disaster, a labor issue, or a political decision, the effects ripple through the entire tech world, or the entire world in technology. A recent example came after Hurricane Helene hit the region. This caused temporary shutdowns. Even a short pause in mining can have major implications. This kind of dependency creates what's called a single point failure, one node that, if it breaks, can stall a global industry. In a world that relies on billions of microchips, that's a serious vulnerability. And it's not just about technology, it's about control. Whoever holds access to this critical material holds leverage over the production of almost every electronic device we use. China has been watching this situation closely. According to the report, a state-backed investment group there has poured roughly 100 million yuan, or about 14 million US dollars, into a company called Nantong Crystal Co. Limited. That company specializes in synthetic quartz that's manufactured rather than mined. This investment gives China a 25% stake in the company and signals a clear strategy: build domestic production and reduce reliance on US imports. Synthetic quartz can be created through hydrothermal processes, essentially growing the mineral in a controlled environment until it reaches the purity needed for semiconductor use. Right now, it's more expensive and not as scalable as natural HPQ, but with government-backed funding, China hopes to develop the capability to meet its own demand, and perhaps eventually export. The reasoning is simple. If the U.S. controls the natural source, China wants to control the manufactured alternative. This story highlights just how fragile the global supply chain really is. For decades, we've talked about rare earth elements and microchips as strategic resources, but few realize that something as simple as quartz can become a bottleneck for the entire system. If the spruce pine mine were to go offline, the impact would spread far beyond U.S. borders. Chip fabrication plants around the world would struggle to maintain production. And from an economic standpoint, whoever controls high-purity quartz holds a quiet but powerful position in global trade. We also have to consider the pace of technological growth. With AI, electric vehicles, and advanced computing all expanding, the demand for semiconductors and the quartz behind them is only going to increase. So we're likely to see more countries investing either locating new quartz deposits or developing synthetic alternatives. This could open new markets, but also lead to more competition and tension over materials once thought to be mundane. Quartz has been valued for its clarity and purity for thousands of years. In metaphysical traditions, it's known for amplifying energy and intention. Now, that same mineral, in a more industrial form, is amplifying the energy of the digital world. The parallel is striking. Physical purity becomes technological precision, and the need for stability and balance in supply mirrors the same principles we associate with energetic balance in crystals themselves. It reminds us that the foundation of our most advanced technologies is still built on the raw materials of the earth. So to recap, one mine in North Carolina supplies most of the world's high-purity quartz, a cornerstone of modern chipmaking. China is now investing millions to develop its own synthetic quartz industry, seeking independence and control over a vital link in the technological chain. It reminds us that every digital innovation begins with something deeply physical, a mineral, a crystal, an element. And perhaps as we look to the future, understanding the earth beneath our technology will become just as important as the technology itself. See you next time when we'll explore another hidden connection between earth and innovation.